Thank you again for being with us. We are going to dive into what culture really is. As a team, we have these values, and values matter, core values. Every single one of us has core values. We're going to unpack all of these, but at the heart of it, value, culture, it goes hand in hand. So we have a value of passion, we have a value of excellence, we have a value of expectation, we have a value of relationships, and we have a value of biblical standards for our team. But all of this begins with a conversation around culture. And when we talk about culture, we're talking about who we really are. Am I someone of excellence? Am I someone of expectation? Am I someone of passion? Am I someone that builds healthy relationships? Do I do these things? Culture is saying that we be this. I know that's not grammatically correct, but it's essentially just this is how I live, this is how I speak, this is how I act. All of us carry culture within us. All of our families have culture, our workplaces have culture, your favorite athletic team has a culture to it, the college that you went to has culture, right? Restaurants that we eat at have culture. Everything around us, it has its own unique culture, the things that they value making up this culture of who they are. And we get to determine this culture within our team as we live this out. And we either determine that this is a healthy culture or it's not. See, culture is a mixture of what we create and what we allow. We either create the healthy culture that we want to see, or we allow culture to exist around us, and it begins, if we don't maintain it, we don't care for it. The things that we allow, they just begin to be unhealthy, right? Brian Houston, who's a pastor out of Australia, he says this: if you want to see a healthy culture, you must be that healthy culture. So on our team, every single one of us needs to be someone that understands that we contribute to the healthy culture that we want to see. That as we dive into these values, that we have a responsibility to live this out, that this needs to become deep within us. My heart for our team is that we are always a team that is healthy and has a healthy culture to it. There is a worship leader, songwriter, worship pastor. His name is Jeremy Riddle. He's out in California. And he says this, he says, the root system is never as pretty as the fruit, but it's much more important. See, culture is our root system. If you've ever seen a plant uprooted or a fruit tree uprooted, what's under the soil, what's beneath there, those roots, it's not glamorous, it's not pretty. The fruit that comes off of that, though, all of us want to take part in. But culture is our root system. It's not glamorous. It's not pretty. It's not the thing that people want to talk about, and it's not the thing that people see, but it's the thing that matters, right? So here's the big idea that we're just going to dive into and unpack around culture. Big idea is this: we live and lead the culture that we want to see. You and I live and lead the culture that we want to see. From our first impression standpoint, to our production standpoint, to our media standpoint, to our worship standpoint, you and I live the culture and lead the culture that we want to see. It starts with us. And you on this team, it begins with you. You're stepping into something that's already existing, but it begins with you. You need to take ownership of this the same as I need to take ownership of it. And we don't want to create just a healthy worship culture and a healthy, compelling culture within our church just to be cool. We want to do it because remember what our statement is. We exist to create welcoming, compelling environments where people do what? They encounter God. And we believe this culture, the healthy culture, is a culture where people step in, and every single time they step in, they encounter the presence of God in this place. They're welcomed into the family of God in this way. So how do we live and lead the culture that we want to see? One of these things we've already touched on, but is this: we lead it. You and I need to be people that lead the culture that we want to see. Don't wait for others to lead it. Don't wait for others to remind you that you need to lead this. We need to be people that lead where we're at. We need to be people that lead in what we're doing. We need to be people that understand if we want to see a welcoming environment, it begins with our lives being open and welcoming to others. That if you want to be a part of a friendly church, don't wait for other people to be friendly. Be friendly. If you want to be a part of a church that's expressive and passionate in worship, don't wait for a worship leader to invite you to step into that. You just do it and you own it in that moment. You lead this out. This is like really practical for our team. I believe highly in punctuality. I just believe it. You're going to hear this. Be punctual, right? That's a cultural thing. If you want to see people showing up on time to something, be the first one there. Make sure you're the first one there, right? For me, as a worship pastor, when I lead worship, I lead in a way that I just, I wish I was led at times. And the heart is just saying, if I want to see a culture of expression, I want to see a culture of passion, I want to see people singing their hearts out, encountering the presence of God, this begins with me leading it. We live and lead the culture that we want to see. It begins with leading it. The second thing is we need to own it. We need to take ownership of the culture that we want to see. That means that you need to be someone that takes ownership of your craft. Now, we do put things in place as a team to best equip you in this. But whatever the talent and craft is that God's placed within you, you need to take ownership of it. We will give you tools, but at the end of the day, it was given to you for you to steward and you to own. So take ownership of it. Take ownership of our team growth. Be someone that invites others into the team. Be someone that welcomes other people in. That's a culture of just saying, hey, we're going to be a healthy team. Healthy things grow. And so if we're a healthy team, that means you need to also be someone that takes ownership of the growth of this team. Take ownership of our team unity and our church unity. Be someone that unites, not divides. Be someone that says, I'm going to step in and I'm going to champion what is laid before us. Be someone that takes ownership of your own personal spiritual growth. Like I said, as a church, we do this. We put things in place to help people take spiritual steps of growth. But no one can force you to do this. You need to take ownership of it. We live and lead the culture that we want to see. So we lead it, we own it. The next thing is we honor it, okay? We need to honor it. Honor is not really something that's talked a lot in today's day and age, but it's something that you and I make the choice. No one can force us to honor something. We make the choice to do it. I choose to give honor. I choose to honor this culture. I choose to honor our leadership. I choose to honor the elders God's put in place. I choose to honor the systems that have been put in place. And if we are going to be people who live and lead the culture that we want to see, then we need to honor the things that have been put in place. I do understand that there's a level of understanding that needs to take place. There's a level of getting our heads and our hearts around it because we're all bringing in our own preconceived culture into this family. But if we're going to be a healthy team that moves things forward, we need to honor what has been put in place. And the last thing is we need to speak it. Speak this culture over your life. Speak the values that we're going to talk about. Don't just honor the values, speak the values. Remind yourself of them. Remind others of them. Be encouraging about it. Be passionate and positive about it. Understand that there's this beautiful thing of when God created, He actually spoke. See, there's this idea that when we speak things, it begins to create things. You want to create a healthy culture? Begin to speak the healthy culture. Begin to speak the things that we value and that we want to see. The reality is we determine the culture that we want to see. You determine it, and I determine it. The root system is never as pretty as the fruit system. 10 years from now, there will be fruit if we care for our roots. Be the culture that we want to see. Lead it, own it, honor it, speak it. And as we do this, we are going to see God begin to bring fruit into the life of our church as we live and lead the culture.